Welcome back, Chiefs Kingdom, NFL fans around the world, and everybody else that might show up on this feed. We are Locked On Chiefs. It's going to be a fun show. There's a lot going on. The Chiefs made a huge announcement about training camp. Travis Kelce has some things to say. And the NFL, at least from the media outlets, might be changing a little bit. Welcome. Yep. This is Locked On Chiefs.
It's the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
From the land of the free and the home of the Chiefs, this is the Locked On Chiefs podcast.
Welcome back, everyone. There is a little bit to talk about today.
Yeah.
I'll let you go ahead and start.
Quite a bit, man. I mean, there's things that happen, and I think the announcement timing of this is rather interesting. We have a lot of details to go through about training camp. And then the NFL is actually going to make, I think, an interesting move. We'll talk about to wrap the show. But first, Travis Kelce is not bashful. And if you had any doubt about that, he is out there saying some things that I actually like.
Travis Kelce being bashful, that just doesn't seem to fit. No, I do think it's – honestly, I wanted to talk about this before we talked about anything else because I think it says so much about him as he's grown as a player, honestly. Mm-hmm. You sit here and you look at it, and it's like he's now talking about he is acting like a leader on this team. He's saying that it's Super Bowl or bust. It's, I don't want a ring. I don't care about anything else. And that's exactly what you want to hear from the guys that are your superstars.
Now, I might have missed some of it, but the thing that stood out to me is when it all boils down, he says last year was a failure because they didn't win a championship. And I like to hear that because everybody has to have goals. The idea and the back and forth that you get with sports psychologists and things like that is, do you set attainable goals? Do you set things that make people strive? I think it has to be both. I think you have to have multiple goals per season, and certainly saying that because we didn't win that Lombardi, that's a failure. I think that sets you for what this roster can do the next season.
Absolutely, and I think it sets you up as your superstars are wanting nothing but winning. Why do you think Mahomes took the contract he did? And honestly, to some extent, why do you think Kelce took the contract he did? I know he probably could have got more on the open market. I know he doesn't want to leave Kansas City, but he took a contract. I'm not going to call it team friendly, but he probably could have gotten more money from somewhere else. Yeah, if he wanted to risk it. And then you look at Mahomes' contract. Mahomes definitely took less money than he could have gotten over the life of his contract for Kansas City. So especially with the numbers about to explode, he's going to be – I don't even know that he'll be top 5 paid in the next 7 years.
Yeah, it's going to catch up to him really, really quickly. And that's, again, all going back to what you said. Be a leader. Leave a little bit on the table so that you can have a team around you. And I think that that's paying off at this point. I agree with you.
Did you ever think Kelce was going to say something like that?
Well, I was just going to say, I agree with you that it shows maturity in Kelce. But hopefully that is also something that drives him, like saying it out loud to the public. Hopefully something that reinforces it for him because, he had a couple of games where he had, I think, some lack of concentration last year. And as good as he is, like he has never been near a perfect season. So if that drives him to get that much closer to what is his idea of a perfect season, I think that only helps the team. So good for him.
Well, and then you take it a step further with him. If he's never had a perfect season, the strive for a perfect season is going to become even bigger because he's now older. Mm-hmm. He's going to have to adjust to different things because he's getting older, and he's going to have to adjust the way he prepares and the way he's ready for the season. So, I was really pleasantly surprised by his comments. I did like that he called it a failure. I did like that he's saying that that's really his only goal. He said, it may be cool to be watching, years down the road when kids are trying to break my records. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, all he cares about is putting another ring on his finger.
I mean,
another Super Bowl ring, to be clear, because he got one from the AFC Championship game. He's got 3. I think he has 3 of them now. Or no, 2 of them, I guess. Sorry.
But you're right. It's one thing to say, like, I have a record and watch the chase. Like, it'll be entertaining for him later. I think everybody except the 72 Dolphins generally embraces when their records are getting, caught. But that ring is something you can't ever take away. And a collection of multiple Super Bowl rings is something that even the greatest greats don't necessarily have.
Right, and he's talking about chasing the thing that Jordan chased with the Bulls. So, sorry.
You got to learn to drink on camera a little bit smoother.
Oh man, I know.
Well, this kickoff of training camp that we're going to get into here coming up next is the start. So put your high goals there, start it, but they're going to start taking bets for the Super Bowl here pretty soon as well. And the easiest way for you to do that is through BetOnline AG. You can bet on the baseball season because it's in full swing as well, and you get all the latest news, odds, and info from all your sporting needs for baseball, NBA, the whole 9 yards. Before that pitch goes over on BetOnline, get on your laptop, your mobile, whatever it is that you're using, and check out the great sporting news and sign up for the bonuses and the contests that they have. Don't sit on the sidelines anymore. It's your chance to get in the game. Head to the website, that's betonline.ag, or use your mobile to sign up today and receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. So that's 50% of your deposit for free. BetOnline.ag, your online sports experts. Use that promo code LOCKEDON and get that 50% bonus welcome. Welcome is what you have to do because everybody's got an entrance when they come to training camp, right? Like, I'm really interested in that part. Like, the welcome sign for all the rookies and the new arrivals, like, but who's going to be riding shotgun with Colquitt? And you could say it was Sherm, but I mean, Colquitt's the like puppet master, I think, of all the big arrival stunts.
Yeah, and I think he was. He's obviously not here anymore. So you're right. The question is what are people going to do? What's Michael Burton going to do?
Yeah, should be room right there to just kind of pick up that mantle.
Yeah, and that's the question. Is he going to pick up the mantle based on, I'm sure he's heard what Sherman used to do at camp. So that there's going to be a little bit of some kind of expectation there.
Yeah, I would think so. And folks, if you haven't heard from Mike Burton, you can go back and listen or watch the episode that he joined us. And I don't get that he's that big of a personality as compared to Sherm, but there certainly is a role there that I think would endear him to fans. And if Colquitt has anything to say about it, I'm guessing he's going to a guy who's going to be a specialist on all 4 special teams, help him out with Tommy and Winchester. I'd like to see them do like a Desperados OK Corral kind of thing, like show up on horses. That's what I'd like.
You just want to have it all be entertaining. Yeah. No, I get it. That would be kind of cool.
Who knows? We'll see how they do it. But however they show up, whoever shows up first, looks like they're going to report on the 28th. And there's a 5-day acclimation period across the league. We know that from the rules, but from what the Chiefs put out today, looks like they're going to practice from the 28th all the way through the 18th, which is important to me because I usually go to training camp that week after the first preseason game. And it looks like they're going to continue that. So I'm going to have an opportunity to still see post preseason game number 1, what adjustments get made. And that's a big deal for me. I know that there's a lot of things about how fans are going to get there that are going to be different though.
Yeah, and it looks like you're going to have to actually reserve tickets before you go. Mm-hmm. That's going to be interesting this year. I'm not sure how that process is going to work. Honestly, with everything that I've got going on, I'm actually going to be moving when they're looking to start training camp. So going to be interesting to see if I can even make training camp this year.
Yeah, that'll be a challenge. From what I understand, they haven't said how many they're going to let into each practice.
Right.
But everybody has to have a ticket, and they're doing e-tickets. So it's not like you got to carry around paper or get them in the mail or anything. The reservations go up. It's July 7th that you can go get your days at camp if that's what you want to do. And you should get some kind of electronic notice. I'm really interested to see how many people they let in because I think that's a safety control for COVID specifically, right?
Right.
And I think it also coincides with some of the rules that they're putting up as well. Which one stood out to you the most?
Well, I'm not really sure the one stood out the most to me. I just think that it's really interesting that they're going to start doing electronic, and I think that that's actually going to be a good thing for them because then they can kind of control the amount of people that's going to be there to begin with, and then they have an idea of what to expect.
Now, for me, the biggest change, and I think this is going to frustrate some fans, especially the younger ones, there will be no autographs, period, whatsoever in training camp. That's a big, big departure, especially from the line at the bottom of the hill and everywhere else. And I think obviously the volume of people in there goes into that. But I think along with that, if they're doing that to limit exposure, my guess is that they're going to move the seating positions back as well. There wasn't anything specific in their press release today. about, if you're going to be able to sit on the hill, or if there's going to be, a larger distance in the bleachers there on the western side.
Well, that's going to be interesting for me, because if I was going to go to training camp, was I not going to be able to sit on the hill? And if I was going to be able to sit on the hill, how much further away from the people in the media am I going to be?
Yeah.
Because, usually I'm right at the very top of that hill, right under the media tent.
Yeah. And I usually post up somewhere very similar to that as well, so I can get a little bit of view of the other field. Because I got to see the D-line drills and stuff like that. So, it is.
Of course you do. You got to see something on defense.
Right, yeah. Another interesting change for you guys to know, it's going to be $5 for parking every day. Missouri Western has decided that. And there are some practices that, while quote-unquote open, aren't open to the public. They're going to be exclusives to season ticket holders. And Wednesday, the day that it all starts, on the 28th, is going to be one of those days. And they're kind of sporadic through. As I look down at the schedule, there's another one on August 10th. And there is, I think that's it. Is that? Yeah, that's both of them. Military Appreciation Day and camp is the last day of August 18th. That's pretty normal. So it looks like everything is going to be 9:15s. You never know, though. They always reserve the right to cancel, move inside, or do whatever it is that they need to do. And Family Fun Day is going to be Sunday the 8th, so everybody knows. A lot of information in this release today. But at the end of the day, it might not be normal, but it's about as close as I think we could have expected to getting back to a training camp aura for this 2021 season.
Yeah, and I'm really curious as to see how they deal with it going forward. Obviously, Kansas City, I think this would be their last year in the contract, because I think last year was supposed to be. So are they going to continue going back? Yeah,
according to Matt over at Chiefs Digest, the deal was moved. It is through 2023, so it's this year and a couple more. And they have two options up to 2025. So, hey, that gives them some flexibility there, and I think that's going to be good for them as well.
Yeah, no, I do think that's a good sign, and I'm excited they're going to continue to keep it there, because that gives us access and that gives us the ability to go up there and have some fun and see things up close and in person.
Yeah, and I think that's really important. It's always kind of a marker of the start of the season, but I think it also goes towards, connecting fans with the team, not just, the stars like Mahomes and stuff. The guys that are, unfortunately, usually on the autograph line.
Yep. And no autographs this year, like you said, and man, that is going to disappoint a lot of people. I guarantee it.
Yeah. So keep an eye out on the social media platforms for all the accounts that the Chiefs run. That's when they're going to make any major announcements. If they do any kind of cancellation or anything huge, we will definitely let you know, because we'll get a press release about it and we'll go from there. So overall, not a bad way to kick off the season. I think that it's going to be just fine. And I think we need to get into what it might look like outside of camp coming up next.
So one of my favorite products that we have had the opportunity to talk about is Built Bar. Built Bar is the best tasting protein bar ever. They also have some drink mixes as well that are fantastic. Their immunity, defense, three different types of flavors. Love those as well. What is your favorite Built Bar flavor? Ryan, I'm sure you probably still have it sitting around there.
I do. It is coconut chunk, but I like that grasshopper one too. That looks like a flavor that you may be able to get soon.
Yeah, it's pretty good too. I was impressed. My daughter saw the name of it and goes like, ew. And I'm just like, it tastes pretty good.
It is not fried cicadas. We're okay.
No, it is not, even though there's going to be plenty of them going on. If you don't know the Built Bar flavors, well, you're missing out. Coconut almond, cherry, raspberry, mint brownie, peanut butter brownie, double chocolate, salted caramel. There is something there for everyone. As Ryan said, coconut brownie chunk is my favorite. It's his as well. If you haven't tried all the flavors, you can get a mixed box where you get 2 of each of the 9 flavors. Not only are Built Bar flavors the best tasting, but they're healthy too. Most of the flavors have 17 grams of protein, 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, and 4 grams of net carbs. A couple of the flavors have 18 grams of protein, 180 calories, and just 5 grams of sugar and 5 grams of net carbs. All 9 flavors are very tasty. They're healthy, and they taste amazing. Order today and get raspberry or mint brownie or whatever you like. Go to BuiltBar.com and use promo code LOCK15. You'll get 15% off your order. Use promo code LOCK15 for 15% off at BuiltBar.com.
The last thing that we need to cover in particular is that I don't think the Chiefs are done in the other announcement that came down today. There's a big shift that's going to go on with the way that the league presents its media outlets. But prior to that, I think that feeds into the other announcement that they made that kind of went under the radar, is just like bidding on Super Bowls, trying to make your draft preparations and bid on getting that. It appears that as of post 2023, so 2024 will be the first one, the NFL is going to open up bidding for the combine to be at a team facility as well. So I think that it puts, obviously, the time of year puts Kansas City nearly out of the running for a combine because they don't have a dome. But you can't run a full combine inside the Chiefs practice facility. So I doubt that that's a stretch for them. But just the fact that they're going to open it up and move it around and not be in Indianapolis every year, I think that, again, is trying to spread the wealth and get all the fan bases involved in the combine a little bit more. They do that through their media outlets, and there's a big change going on there as well.
You call it big. I'm not so sure how big it's going to be.
Yeah? Okay.
I saw the article that you were talking about, and I read it, and the article says the NFL isn't talking about getting rid of the voting interest or the actual whole stake in the media rights. Mm-hmm. So they're going to sell a portion, and it's not going to be something that's going to have control.
Right. As I read it, what the big deal is that they're going to try to shift production outside of the NFL offices so that they're going to use partners that can present games, coverage, analysis, I'm sure, like in different ways, things that we're not used to in just like a standard studio setup. And that part I think is exciting because I think while the game has evolved, I don't know that outside of all 22, that the coverage or analysis of the game, at least for media, has really changed over the last few years.
No, it hasn't, and I think it is exciting for them to kind of move things around. So we'll see how they do that. But the big thing for me was they're not going to be giving up control. Yeah. They're going to still control things, and this is basically what they do. They're trying to get more exposure and make as much money as possible. And this is just the next step in the direction. Yes, it's going to help in other areas, but those are some of the key background areas as well.
Well, and I hope that it allows them to spend a little bit more time in the league offices on the game and not on the way that you cover it. Safety protocols, how you go about things. According to Robert Kraft, who is one of the more powerful owners in the league, that they feel that they can advance technology in the way that the game is covered by going outside of the building and letting some of their partners. I have to think that given everything else that's going on, Amazon's going to be a big part of that. We know that they're selling them Thursday night coverage. It comes down to innovation and who's going to present a package as a partner that can take the NFL to the next level. I think that's going to be who it is that emerges.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of questions as to how they're going to start moving things in the future. I do think that you start looking at some of the technology that they really haven't used very much. They'll have the trackers on every single player. You have to wonder if that's going to start becoming more of a thing that they're going to be looking at in different areas. I think that could be a lot of fun.
I agree. Zebra Technology is going to have a lot of interesting things to say because they are already in partnership with Amazon in particular, as I understand it, to give that not just break it down later data, but real time so that it could feed into a broadcast.
Yeah, and I wonder also if they're going to start changing other things eventually with this as well. Are they going to start looking at how they're going to change reffing games a little bit? Are they going to start using more camera angles and trying to get more video of different angles? Because that would really add to the competitive, the entire game and the competitiveness of games.
I'd love to see them put chips in the ball. Just so the goal line stuff is no longer, did you get the right camera angle? You know what I mean? We can go into a pile that way and not have to contend about it.
Right. And I don't know how they're going to do that, but I mean, putting a chip in a ball is easy enough. And I get what you're saying there, but you have to have it somewhere where it's, they just say that it has to be the nose of the football crosses the line. Well, what if it's in the middle of the football?
Right.
And obviously, you're going to have other issues, and they'll figure all that out. But yeah, I mean, that's an easy one.
Yeah,
that's a real easy one. And honestly, putting more cameras on the field is just going to get more people excited, because I guarantee you, if they do multiple more angles, there will be people that will go and pay to be able to see those angles.
I'll watch all 22 live. I don't need the broadcast myself. So yeah, there's plenty of extra.
I'm not even talking all 22. I'm talking about just different angles on the field. You could have multiple more cameras than they have, and still make a ton more and make more money, and it will pay for itself in 5 or 10 years when you start looking at how many people are going to want to see all the different angles that they can produce.
I feel like we're going towards like the Blade Runner version of football eventually, like helmet cams on everyone, like the live VR feed of, X player. I think that's going to be really interesting. And the Chiefs should be upfront about it, because when you have players like Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes, movement is a big part of their game. And that aspect of the technology, I think, is going to be highly focused on the Chiefs as a team. And maybe we'll get some of the beta stuff, get the early looks at it.
That'd be very cool. I'm excited to see what they're going to do. And if they are able to, put this out there and have some of their media partners go and do different things with, the broadcast and how they're going to be presenting football in general, that gets things outside the box. And just because you don't have complete control doesn't mean that you can't have input. And maybe somebody out there that's going to be forward thinking is going to come up with something that's going to, bring in a whole new audience because of the way that they're going to be able to show things.
Yeah. Presentation matters. I want to know what you guys think, though. So please hit us at Locked On Chiefs on Twitter. A lot of great interaction over there lately. We appreciate you guys getting with us. The iTunes reviews are another great place. If you want to hear something or you have a take on this particular topic, I'd love to see that in iTunes review. We do go through those. We appreciate all of them. And it helps us keep coming up with questions, because we're here all off season. There is no off season for us. We're here every day.
And don't forget YouTube comments.
Right, of course. If you found us on YouTube, welcome. If you are somebody that's been listening to us for a long time out there on Apple or Spotify, check out the YouTube as well, just to have a look. And
so you can see Chris, because yes, I'm here.
Because he has a face.
I do.
We just didn't know it before. So
I enjoy myself, whether or not Ryan believes it, but
Yeah, you got to convince me sometime.
Well, I got to convince you to talk about offense half the time. So, I mean,
it's like you have a niche. It's okay.
Yeah. It is what it is. I'm used to it by now. After 4 or 5 years doing this, it's just kind of normal.
Yeah, it is. But we hope that you guys enjoy that, and especially if you get a different glance of what you've seen or heard before. So we thank you. We'll have more on training camp as the developments go, as well as our rundown, previews of the roster, all kinds of stuff coming up here in the next couple of weeks. So don't miss it. We are here still all week long, every day. We're going to keep that going. We thank you for watching, listening, and checking us out today. And we'll talk to you tomorrow.